Hi Grand Forks teachers, I'm Paul Solars. I'm the author of Learn Like a Pirate, and I understand you guys are beginning a book study on the book. Thank you so much. Let me tell you just a little bit about it before you get too deep into it. It's really an explanation of how I've created a student-led classroom with my kids. They take on a lot of the ownership, and they do it through a few different methods. And I've broken down the book into about 6 main chapters, and they form the acronym PIRATE. So the P stands for peer collaboration, and that's where a student-led classroom really can't work unless you get the kids working together in partnerships and small groups, because that's when they have the opportunity to take control of the class, do gimme fives, and make decisions freely. When the teacher's working in front of the classroom lecturing, or if they're just doing textbook lessons like we've got set up for today, it doesn't work as well. They know what to do, they know you're in control, but when you get them doing actual problem-based lessons and project-based lessons, simulations and fairs and debates, that's when kids are going to really take control of the class and start making decisions freely. So I talk about how collaboration can be improved in a classroom setting in that first main chapter. It's actually chapter 3. But the rest of the book goes on to say the I for Pirate is improvement-focused learning. And in my classroom, although this isn't a required component, I don't give grades out for activities, I just give feedback. I still have to do a report card, so I still have to give my kiddos grades, but instead of constantly telling them that they've got an A, a B, or a C, or D, or whatever, or giving them a 90%, 80% on each activity, instead of doing that, I give them feedback on it. And I talk to them either individually or whole class or small group and try to get them to make improvements to try to keep growing them. I always tell them I want to take you from here to here, wherever you're at. It's your own personal point A to your personal point B. Some of you are down here in certain skills, some of you are up here, but either way I want you to continue to grow because we're never done learning. So in our classroom, an improvement-focused learning it really benefits the kids and it helps to grow our student-led classroom. If we were constantly focused on grades, kids would be working to really better themselves all the time. They wouldn't necessarily be thinking about the people around them and how they can help each other. So by taking the pressure off of them with grades, by getting rid of the grades, at least in the day-to-day basis, it really allows them to think about each other, think about taking risks, be more creative, and that's a big part of our culture. The next chapter's on responsibility. I give my kids almost all the responsibilities in the classroom that I have. So, anything that's like getting the computer cart or getting materials out or transitioning us to gym or whatever, that's where they're at right now. Those things I share that responsibility with my kiddos. They do gimme fives and say it's time to go. You'll read about gimme five in here. It's just our interrupter for the classroom. They say it's time to get ready to go to gym. They'll get the cart for us. They'll do all the tasks that I'm typically doing. Attendance. I haven't done attendance in 17 years because my kids on day 1 I teach them how to do it, and then they do it for the rest of the year. And on our school we're not really supposed to do that. We're supposed to have the teachers taking attendance, but they're better at it than I would be, and so I'm one of many who can take attendance, but I always have the help of the kids, so they do it for us. So there's a million responsibilities throughout the class. Some of them I might assign to people temporarily, but we all share the responsibility, even the assigned tasks. But everything that comes up, we just call it a collaborative responsibility. It's all of our jobs to try to figure it out. And so kids just take on those roles and figure it out themselves. Sometimes we have 1 or 2 kiddos who try to do everything, and that's another thing that we have to work on. And so I tell them, I don't really want a student centered classroom. I want a student-centered classroom where we're all taking on responsibility. So I just talk to the child and try to get them not to do everything and instead try to encourage others to do the things that they had wanted to do. We talk about active learning in the A chapter, and that's where I explain at least how I do simulations, debates, fairs, project-based learning, use technology in meaningful ways. All these things are ways I get my kids up and moving throughout the classroom so that I don't have to lecture the whole time and they don't have to work individually the whole time. They can work together in groups to get a lot of things done. When they're actively learning, they're able to collaborate better and then eventually lead the classroom even more. The T chapters on 21st century skills, and that's been a focus of mine for many years, and you can call it whatever you want if that's an overused phrase, but the idea is that in the 21st century, we should be focusing more in on skills like collaboration and problem solving. And it's not that we've never done that before, it's that it's never been like the primary focus. And so I tried to explain how in my classroom, the primary focus is on developing these 34 skills that I've identified moving forward, because these are transferable skills to other school environments, but it's also life skills that they're going to be able to need. So in the past, we've always said they were important, but we've never focused our lessons in on them. And now I'll take a social studies lesson and try to make it more about creative problem solving than I will about the content, even though the content's very important and it's probably something that we have to make sure kids understand. I'll try to embed a 21st century skill or two as a primary component of the lesson so that kids are really learning those skills that they can transfer to the next situation. And then the last chapter is really on empowerment. What are all the ways that I empower my students to lead in the classroom and to work together? And I try to identify, I think there's at least 13 different areas where kids are empowered to do things in the classroom on their own. And that includes, taking chances and disagreeing with each other. But we learn how to do that with respect and care, because we try to become a family in our classroom. I mean, we're already there. I'd say within the first month, you start to feel more like a family than ever before. And you might bicker like brothers and sisters do, but you care about the other person, so you're at least a little bit better at responding to that person. So we teach each other how to do that, and it becomes important in our classroom. So that's a quick rundown of the book. I hope you enjoy it. Please connect with me on Twitter. I'm happy to talk to you and answer any questions that you have. I'm at Paul Solars on Twitter. And then anytime if you guys are doing a Twitter study, I'm happy to jump on towards the end and see how things are going. Keep in mind that you've got to make it work for your situation. This is what has worked for me for many years in my 5th grade classroom, but there are so many teachers doing this in kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, 3rd. There are teachers doing this in middle school, high school, college. They're making components of the book work for them, and they're seeing huge changes in their classrooms. And try to find some things that work or that you think might work in your situation, and give it a good chance to do it, because I think you'll be amazed at what your kids are capable of doing, and you'll see these skills transferring to new situations. So thank you, everybody, and hope to talk soon. Bye-bye.